This is a video response to Dragonaut Silvas on his response to my EA rant discussion I posted earlier this week. This is not going to be the typical type of response because, one, I'm kind of a little tired and crawled right out of bed, as you can see my attire. But no, sticking to the point at hand, I noticed one thing, quite a few things you said in the video. It was like, that EA did acknowledge the fact that their players are evolving. Now, while that's true to some extent, they were saying that they want to appeal to a market of multiplayer gamers. But personally, I think that this isn't the right approach to the gaming corporation at large, because not everybody wants to play multiplayer on multiplayer games. There are some games that we don't feel like playing online all the time. Case in point, Dead Rising 2, both of the games, all the Dead Rising 2 games, except for Case Zero, they had an option to play online co-op. But the thing about that is that you didn't have to do it. It was a single player game, but they had co-op, and then the original Dead Rising 2 had its own exclusive multiplayer mode. But people, you could either make it private or public, and you could reject people from interrupting your game and everything. You didn't have to approve anything, and that's fine. I don't try not to misunderstand here. I'm not against multiplayer development in games. What I am against is when you cut off an entire aspect of gaming as a whole. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say I like single player more than multiplayer, because it's been a mixed bag with both types of games I've played over the years. There are some games I prefer to play multiplayer, and then others, just by their very nature, they're built to be multiplayer, like fighting games. I mean, it makes no sense to not have multiplayer in those type of games. Their very design demands, almost warrants, multiplayer. But I hate to use this shitty game again as a fucking example, but this game right here, yeah, this had fucking multiplayer in it. And the thing about Front Mission is that it is originally was a tactical RPG strategy game, similar to Final Fantasy Tactics, Vandal Hearts, or what I'm saying, you move from panel to panel and did it like that. It was like a mech version of Final Fantasy Tactics. A lot of people would classify it like that. And I was upset with this game more so because they pretty much turned it, and it's just the reference is not intentional, but they pretty much turned it into a watered down fucking Armored Core clone. And this game sucked. It had multiplayer too, but it didn't suck because it had multiplayer. It was because they had fucking Double Helix developed for it. You see. So we don't need to have that fucking game on camera anymore. But what I'm trying to say is that EA is not known for making any type of games, any one type of games. They've made various games over the years. They've made racing games, they've made action games, they've made platformers, they've made shooters. It's pretty varied. And when I think about, I've played games where it's exclusively online, and it kind of irks me that that's the case. But I don't care if it's exclusively online or not. It should be good. And when you think about all the content that strictly online games have, like Diablo 3, which I liked playing that game, but let's face it, man, it wasn't, I'm not a big fan of Diablo, but the whole you gotta be online to play at all thing was fucking stupid. Because I didn't like playing in parties all the time. People would join and then leave and then subject you to danger. It was not a fun experience playing with people online from that aspect of that game. I mostly played single player, even though I have to be online for the damn server. Now that was annoying. But in this instance, EA, I've played quite a few games. And when you say you're not going to make single player games anymore, it kind of kills it, because I come from I just grew up on single player games. I also grew up on multiplayer games. Not to say that I advocate that we get rid of multiplayer, because you need to have a difference of medium. You can't have the same thing, and too much of a good thing gets old after a while. And then, you know, you want to be able to give people that choice to be able to say, you know what, I want this type of game. Not that, oh, well, you might as well subject yourself to this type of gameplay style and nothing else. And, you know, that's supposed to be your game module, and it's not a good business practice. And I don't think I'm overreacting when I say this, that it just, when you cut off one aspect of gaming, when your consumers have known you to do various different things, we're probably never going to see RPGs from EA again that are single player, because they'll all be all online. And they've even said that they wanted to have that all their games pretty much have an online service. And the problem with EA is that they tend to get fucking greedy with all these online passes. And, you know, it wouldn't be a problem if they were just one online pass for like an account for all their games, but it's always an online pass for each and every one of their games. And then the microtransaction system is it just gets worse and worse. I get angry and angry when I think about it, but this rant's going on too long. I'm just saying, we can't just accept it, because if you do that, then other corporations are going to do the same. And unfortunately, we as gamers won't be having a bright future. Fighting Gentleman signing out.